Harris actually made a really good point that I didn't even think about is with AI up and coming, having that integrated with our military. Now that's an evil thought to think, but it's always a possibility because there's always good people, bad people, evil people, great people. I mean, you just don't know.
Well, guys, we begin with President Trump's plan for a Golden Dome, a nationwide missile defense system to protect against the threat of foreign missile attacks. Now, Trump claims that the state-of-the-art $175 billion project will be able to detect and intercept hypersonic, ballistic, and advanced cruise missiles to keep Americans safe. Watch.
In the campaign, I promised the American people that I would build a cutting-edge missile defense shield to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. And that's what we're doing. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors. This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term. So we'll have it done in about 3 years.
Foreign adversaries like Russia, China, North Korea are all condemning Trump's Golden Dome as a so-called threat to global stability. But those reactions haven't deterred President Trump one bit. He says it's a landmark step to protect the American homeland, and he's willing to expand that protection to Canada for free. Quote, I told Canada, which very much wants to be part of our fabulous Golden Dome system, that it will cost $61 billion if they remain a separate but unequal nation, but will cost $0 if they become our cherished 51st state. And they are considering the offer. Brian Kilmeade, what do you think about that?
Well, I think, number one, I think he's still having fun. But I think that they are moving on another front, on the trade front, the Canadian front, on a rapid pace. They want to be one of the next ones to do a trade deal with us. So I think they're putting aside the tension and the jabbing. I do think we need Canada to do this. We're in NORAD with Canada. That is a joint investigation. I was in the Cheyenne Mountain doing going through NORAD for a Fox Nation special we're doing. So I'm in the mountain with NORAD, and the Canadians are full of, half of it is populated with Canadians. So to have a Golden Dome, you need Canada, and we would use the $61 billion. I'd rather have the $61 billion to help us towards paying the $175 billion. And I love that our adversaries hate it. I love that North Korea, China, and Russia hate it, because that means it's going to be effective. It's going to make them spend and innovate, and they can't. Nobody does it better than us.
Right, Ainsley, isn't that a good sign that our adversaries?
Of course it is. Of course it is. We don't care. We want to make them upset. They don't want it because they want the option to be able to nuke us, right? So this Golden Dome, remember when Reagan mentioned this and they called it Star Wars? They mocked him. Well, then Israel gets the Iron Dome. It saves thousands of lives. It was one of his greatest legacies. This could be one of Donald Trump's greatest legacies, because long after we're all gone, this is going to protect our children and our grandchildren. And Donald Trump says he can have it up and running in 3 years. He said they have the capability to send over a nuclear weapon, and it can travel 6,000 miles in a matter of 1 hour. So they could nuke us. We need to do something. Pete Hegseth said this could take out their ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones.
And Kayleigh,
Okay, so in regards to this situation, at first I was having a little bit of mixed feelings on the Golden Dome that he's calling it, but I'm actually liking the idea now, and I'll explain why. I believe that, throughout many years, our country, the United States, has tried to negotiate with other foreign countries into trying to negotiate certain terms or force them in ways by creating certain wars in the past to prevent them or stop them from creating weapons that could cause some serious destructions. Well, there's countries out there that choose to keep developing these high-powered weapons that could really do some damage to other countries that, You know, if they have the option to attack because their negotiating side does not work, so they want to resort to violence, they have the capability to do so. And that's been other foreign countries' rhetoric for many decades. So now that there's a proposal of a Golden Dome being presented to the United States and Trump's gonna make that happen, I don't know. I don't see it getting finished in 3 years, but we shall see. It's gonna be a huge. No wonder everybody in the other side of the planet is like, they're wanting this to not happen, because they know that if we have a sort of a protective shield on our country, they have to spend way more money to revamp their technology to beat what this system does, which I don't see happening. Everybody saw the Iron Dome, and we've seen clips online of how this great defense system works. It's helped save many, many lives and property. I mean, we of course we care about lives, but we also care about all the things these people have done to build, and for it to get destroyed in an instant is just going to take years and money to rebuild, and it just really sucks. So I really like this proposal. And the thing with Canada, I think that's a little bit too much pressure on the country of Canada, because Canadians, I've seen clips online, they kind of want to just be their own thing, let them live their lives, and I don't have much to say about Canada. I mean, it's an interesting proposal. We'll see what happens with that.
Some of the media at the time questioned, well, President Trump, doesn't this potentially escalate things? But the reality is that it's a deterrent, and to Ainsley's point, ensures the safety of Americans, so that we have peace through strength through our current president, but for lifetimes to come, we are protected from potential future threats too.
Yes, some people worry about an arms race, especially as some of the ballistic treaties have expired. But yes, this is creative thinking. I love this idea. Here's the challenge: getting the funding. In the new big beautiful bill, there's a $25 billion down payment, but the CBO estimates this will cost $831 billion over 2 years. So you got a little down payment there, and you've got to get guys like Rick Scott on board, who said he's not there yet, Rand Paul, these deficit hawks, Ron Johnson. I think we get there because President Trump has enormous political capital. I just saw the Right Direction numbers, 50%. It's not been there, I mean, pretty much ever. I can't remember the last time it was there. I think Trump gets the down payment on this, but here's what worries me. It protects only against, according to the Wall Street Journal, an expert they interviewed, against 85% of missiles that come in. Well, that's better than zero, right? But 85%, we've got to think about the other 15%. And the eerie statement I saw in the Wall Street Journal, this speaks to the new era we live in. Trump's Golden Dome plan implicitly recognizes that the arms control era has passed. Mutually assured destruction is no longer a sufficient deterrent to nuclear war. We're in a very scary era, and I'm glad we have a president with the foresight to think about the new era of defense we are in, because this is a big step forward.
Yeah. Well, then quick follow-up, Kayla, actually for you then. Given that, why are these deficit hawks? You would think they would weigh the existential crisis and threat a little bit higher, because we know that we can get the money from somewhere. So is there any concept that they approve?
I think they ultimately will. All of these guys are great conservatives that I named, fantastic members of the Senate who care very much about defense. I think they're going to use this to try to get further cuts. Yes. Because you have Rick Scott, who said, I want a balanced budget in 10 years. That's a noble cause, because that's a national security threat too. I think they ultimately make the bill better and get on board.
It's also a baseline Republican point.
Yeah.
Of smaller government and less spending. I think that's absolutely on point right there, what you just said about the spending. It's all an ongoing big negotiation on Capitol Hill. I will say this: President Trump and his team are gaming out artificial intelligence used in battle. And we have not, to this day that we know of, seen nuclear devices weaponized by AI or guided by AI. Gosh. You give us a few years, and I mean, you've seen Sam Altman and others say it could be fewer than 10, could be fewer than 5 on certain systems of artificial intelligence. So I think you do have to be prepared for a system that can intercept in different ways. I mean, we saw a little bit of failure when Iran opened up and unleashed on Israel last year. Not everything got taken down. There were some things that were, porous about that. It did remarkably, but imagine if that had some AI guidance. And so we are working now to get ready for a future, I would say, The other thing is, of course, our adversaries are going to say that this puts us on the offensive. They haven't come up with any proof of that, but they say, oh, America's going to be hitting other people. Well, what are they going to say? They want to hit us. As everybody on the couch has made clear, we have to make sure that no matter what their systems grow to be, we can handle it.
Yeah, defensive. It's a defensive operation, and I think it's great. I think it's also a tip of the spear as you hear about AI. So you're going to devise a plan. What can beat the Golden Dome? Fine. That's tough. And then how do you stop people that want to beat the Golden Dome? So it's going to be forcing artificial intelligence to fight artificial intelligence. Yeah. And we're going to be sitting back hoping to program, and hopefully we have the best concept.
Well, I'd rather be in that seat than, as Kayleigh just pointed out, then you don't have anything up there fighting off the stuff.
No,
I've heard even people talk about if there is a World War III, it could be fought in the office. It could be fought in front of a computer using AI.
Or in space.
We have the Golden Dome, but someone
yeah.
will try to create the Diamond Dome. I assure you of that.
I'd be a fan of that. I love diamonds.
Diamond, gold, I like them both.
Our girl's best friend.
You know, Harris actually made a really good point that I didn't even think about is with AI up and coming, having that integrated with our military. And that's actually kind of a freaky thought if you really think about it. A lot of us nowadays, we know what AI is capable of doing. We're seeing a lot of deep fakes online, videos that are completely, so believable, but they're completely fake. ChatGPT and all these different, I don't even know how many apps there are that can generate so many things very quickly for you. If you want to create some sort of essay or create an image of some sort, I've been seeing a lot more lately online in different, social media platforms, and all it takes is some bad people to integrate it within our military. And who's to say, another thing that made me think of something, what Harris was saying was, it's a great idea. Trump's proposing this with the intention. We're protecting America, American citizens. We're protecting our homeland from these possible, attacks that could happen from other countries. And this is something that's going to stay in the United States long after Trump is gone and out of power. Who is to say that a wrong or bad president could take this system to their advantage in a way where it's not the intended purpose of actually protecting Americans? And for example, I honestly don't even want to say this to throw it out there, but if years from now we have this dome and we have appointed a new, not we, but generations down the line have appointed somebody that comes into power and has the intentions of, okay, I am now the president of the United States, and inherited this huge golden dome that Trump put in place many years ago. I now have the mindset of, well, I can now basically attack anybody I want in the world, knowing that I have a good, capable defense system. They will not be able to come back at us. Now, that's an evil thought to think, but it's always a possibility because there's always good people, bad people, evil people, great people. You just don't know. And this is why, we've made movies about, you think about the Terminator and all these different AI robot movies, and you hear stories about how they're taking over mankind, and now mankind has to fight back against machines. And the more we keep diving into the AI world, to me, in my opinion, we are getting closer to pushing the limits and crossing boundaries that humankind probably should not be crossing. This is my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Till next time, peace out, everybody.